Okay. We are ready to start the show. Have an awesome panel tonight. First game of the season has been in the books. On to week two, and have a lot to say. But before we jump into it, just check in on everybody and how they're doing. Still, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay. I had a great trip to America. Really enjoyed it. Good to be back. Shaved off the beard. I look 10 years younger. Woo. Not really, no. I look older, I think. I had to shave it off because I was getting some funny looks out there. So I thought, you know what, let me blend in with the natives. But yeah, no, I'm right, Murray. All's good, man. Good to be on the show with you boys and girls. Spurs are Spurs, man. Spurs are Spurs. You know, already it's begun. One game.
Stephen, how are you feeling?
It's been a crazy work week for me, but I just want to say Spurs always make it up to you. So it was a really great weekend. Ange Ball is back. I'm so happy. Connor also, he's a massive fan of Ange. If you guys don't know, so he should be thrilled that the Ange Ball is also back. So yeah, I'm glad to be on the panel, guys, and looking forward to this show.
All right, Connor, how are you feeling, brother?
I'm good, Mario, man. Yeah, I'm doing well. I don't know what's more surprising, the fact that we finally signed a player or the fact that Stell shaved. No, I'm doing good, man. And we finally signed a flipping player, so I'm happy about that. And yeah, man, it was an all right game last week. I'm a bit worried for this Saturday. We'll see how it pans out. But yeah, man, doing good. We kicked off the season right and served Tottenham. Fantastic start to the season. Big up to everyone.
Big up. And we have an outside opinion, outside of Arsenal, outside Spurs, we have Ed, who is a Man City supporter, will make his debut tonight. Ed, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm just getting off work over here, but it's great to be back, and it's good having the Premier League back. I know all of us were probably anxious for it to start again over the summer, and it's always great to get it started off with a W. First win, and let's keep it going. I know Tottenham don't know what that feels like right now, but everybody can't do it.
When's it ever?
Exactly. Interesting. So, I want to get right to the heart of the matter, because I just want to get this off my chest. I just want to get this off my chest. I've been spending the whole day, working, but there were periods of the day I got into an interesting chat between 15 people. It felt like it. Had one good cordial talk with Paul O'Keefe. It was back and forth, agreed to disagree on some things, but he could kind of understand where I'm coming from, but still makes excuses in regards to his club. And yeah, I forgot to give a big up to Lisa. I haven't seen her in a while. Big up, Lisa, my fellow Mexican friend. She's British but lived in Texas and Mexico. Big up to Lisa. But back to my mini rant I'm about to go on. What frustrates me about this fan base is just the dishonesty, and I understand that you want to be hopeful. I get it, but you have to come to a point where you're honest with yourself and you're honest about the club that you support. So I'll start to the season, right? Most people will say, give me 3 points, right? We're playing Leicester City. It should be a gimme, right? Disappointed because, like I said on another stream, I felt like it was Groundhog's Day. If you ever seen the movie, it's like the repeat of the day. And that performance against Leicester City was basically, for me, a repeat of last season. A lot of games where we were 45 minutes FC, right? Oh, we dominated the first half, and then the second half, this and this happened and that happened. And for me, hearing people say, well, Mari can't be disappointed. It's only the first start of the season. And I'm like, yes, it's the start of the season, but it's the same crap that I saw last season in a game where it's supposed to be a gimme game where we lack that quality in finishing the game. So I asked that question to myself, what should I be positive of that game other than getting 1 point? Nothing. Because it's the same shit I saw last season in regards to our performance. And our fan base is so like warped. Like Daniel Levy is the Pied Piper, and the fan base just follows wherever he goes, even to their demise. I use this analogy as I was driving home from work, right? And this explains this is the perfect explanation of that first game against Leicester. It's like going to a nightclub, right? And you see a girl, and you're talking to her, you're dancing with her for 2 hours. You're at a club, you're dancing with her, you're talking to her, right? And in about a couple of minutes, you're gonna leave the club with her and probably get home and get some nookie. But then, last minute, someone else comes in and swoops up. You did all the groundwork. You did everything you needed to do, but you couldn't finish the deal. She left with somebody, or she didn't give you her number. And how do you feel? You feel like, fuck, those 2 hours were a waste, or an hour were a waste. I'm chatting, I'm buying her drinks, something. You feel like it's a waste. Come on, man.
No, it's not, Mari. It's not about the end result. It's about the journey. Remember that.
Yeah. You got people already saying, shut up, man. Come on, bollocks. No, it's the truth, right? For me, right? No, that's not happening. She's going home again. I'm sealing the deal, right? But the people who accept that, right? Oh, first half was so great. No, I don't care. It's the same shit that we saw last year. Lack of quality. Brendan Johnson.
Murray, you know when the girl went home with someone else, did you feel like you won in life?
No. No.
That's what we do, mate. That's what we do, mate.
And
Depends
those
on how
are
she looks, Dale. Depends on how she looks.
Connor, get it right, man. It's who we are, mate.
It's who we are, mate. Sorry, it's who we are, mate. Yeah.
And those are rare occasions for me personally. Those are rare occasions for me. And our fan base accepts that. And so for me, I'm just like, I'm hearing all this. Yeah. Oh, it's not the end of the world and stuff like that. No, it's not the end of the world. It's not collapsing. Well, maybe it is, because it's been how many years? 16 years and counting since we last won a trophy. 1 in 24 years, right? Then the same fan base, right? Apparently, Ange is God. Who are we to question Ange? He turns water into wine. He is the second best coach behind Pep. To sum it up, fan base, better than Pep. Who are we? Who are we to question Ange and his tactics? Oh my goodness. He is God. Like, I'm here in America. Fuck that. You're in the wrong business. Run for president. Ange can't do no wrong. He's a great politician. He can't do no wrong. Shit. Bye-bye, Kamala. Goodbye, Trump. Bring in Ange. He can't do no wrong. Our fan base, you question his tactics or a substitution. It's almost like, who are you? Who are you to question? So that's why I had to deal with Twitter all day long, right? I love the club. I could give a fuck about any other player or any other manager. Kane, you want to go? Bye-bye. You play for the enemy. You play for Bayern. Bye-bye, Conte. You're gone. Same thing with Ange. I'm a Spurs fan. I'm not a Ange man. Yeah, mate. No, I support Spurs. That's the club that I support. So I have every right to criticize or be critical of my club. That's manager, player, the board, and ownership. I'm not going to be criticized for having my own opinion. If you think everything's great, the house is burning, but nothing to see here, great. Awesome. That's you. But for me, I'm going to say what I'm going to say. I have my rights. I know my rights. I have a voice. And I'm going to be honest with the people who watch this channel, who watch my show, or who ask for my opinion about Spurs. I'm always going to be honest about this team. I'm not about getting likes or here or whatsoever. Fuck that. I'm going to be honest about this club. Always. And so that is my rant. That's what I thought about the first game. I was bored because it's the same thing I saw last year. And that's a gimme game. Now, Everton, I saw some of that game because I was hoping Brighton would score more goals, so Arsenal will be top of the league. Yeah, I was shameless. Come on, Brighton, score more goals. Everton is horrible. But even me, I want to make a prediction, 3-1, 3-0 at home. But even me, I'm like, well, if we let old man Vardy, who is probably on general, old man medicine, scoring a goal, can you imagine Calvert-Lewin? Can you imagine him? I mean, so no game is a gimme game. That's how I feel. And if we don't beat Everton,
all right, let me ask you a question. How would you rank Solanke?
I mean, they're around the corner. So, come on. But nothing wrong at Spurs. Everything's great, right? And we're going to talk about this later. We were named the best run club in England.
You guys have the most. You guys have the most sustainable toilets.
The best run club in England. Give us our trophy.
What a trophy!
Give us our trophy. Give us our trophy. We are the best run, according to the Guardian. We are the best run club in England.
Class.
Who did we sign on Saturday? I forget his name.
Odegaard.
Yeah. Best run club. I'm done. I will shut the fuck up now. First start to the season. Go ahead, Stell.
I could talk for 3 hours by myself, man, on this show. I could go 3 hours by myself.
Do you know what was with your game, right? The thing with your game, because I watched the whole thing. I felt that Solanke's going to take a while to get into the string of things. He was getting his shots on goal, but it just wasn't falling to him.
He wasn't very good.
One thing I've got to say, the substitutions. Ange took 10 years to get them subs on. Listen, I know your bench ain't fantastic, but again, it's that same thing with Tottenham where after 50 minutes, you guys you're out the game because you're blown out. Because of how much pressing you were doing in the first half, which was actually pretty good. Your pressing was actually pretty decent, as it usually is. But you guys got two wiped out by the 50th, 60th minute, and then when Ange finally brought on players, it just wasn't that effective. And I said to myself, Leicester, although they are just newly promotes, and the last time they went down was a bit shit. But
Connor, you've been too nice. You've been too nice.
Hold on a minute. I'm getting to negative points here. I was trying to sort of lead my way in and then shit on you. So give me a minute. And then the goal that you conceded, I don't care what anyone fucking tells me. Romero was ball watching, not a bogey. Romero was ball watching. I don't know what he was doing. Wasn't even watching his own man. Wasn't even watching Jamie Vardy. So he was doing this, doing that. And for me, and I know you guys said it in pre-season anyway. I was obviously talking to you guys in pre-season. You guys haven't changed one bit. Maybe your high line, obviously, because Leicester on the counter-attack were pretty poor throughout the whole game. But you let balls go into the box really easily. Sometimes the defending could have been a bit woeful, and the high line's back though. The high line is back, and I don't know how long it's going to be until you guys actually improve this system. But until then, you're going to expect results like this all season.
There's no improvement, mate. There's no improvement.
Well, you're going to expect results like this all season, man.
Connor, you said it. I think for me, the result is not as important, even though it is. But for me, the most worrying aspect of it, and I'm going to be harsh, is how fucking soft Spurs were. The moment Leicester equalized, Spurs completely collapsed. They looked lost. Udogie, for those 20 minutes until Bentancur's injury, he was the worst player on the pitch. He was horrendous in those 20 minutes. Romero, I have said this, and I told Stowe this last year, you're going to realize, and I know Mari loves every player that drinks mate, but you guys are both going to realize that all he does, his biggest weakness is not his aggressiveness. His biggest weakness is he loves to play hero ball, which is when he starts to get frustrated and angry, he starts to follow the ball instead of reading the game. And the goal was an exact opinion because the whole time, if you watch Romero, he's running towards the ball and completely doesn't even look back once. And then for the second chance that Jamie Vardy, that we should also talk about, that Jamie Vardy should have scored.
Oh man, yeah, he should have back the fucking net.
He gets sucked in again, chasing the ball, and leaves a massive gap for Jamie Vardy to run into. So if that had gone in, that would have been his fault again. Go back to last season. Go look at where he covers players and makes them onside in the same way that he did for Leicester's equalizer against Everton, against Liverpool. He has done this numerous times. But keep calling him world class. Keep saying he's amazing. He's not. The moment shit hits the fan with this guy, he hides. He acts like he's a tough guy, but he's not. And then finally, all I'm going to say is if shit hits the fan, which I predict with Spurs, where you guys don't have a good season, he's going to get injured and then miraculously be 100% fit for Argentina, like he has done in the first 2 years of his Spurs career. So that's my.
Wait a minute. I think you're being.
Can I go?
Oh, there we go. It's going to be like a 3-hour conversation now.
Right. Everything we are seeing now was pretty much covered by this channel and a few other channels all pre-season. And we got nothing but abuse, hate, every label under the sun. And after game one, the fan base has turned. And the things I'm seeing them say is exactly what we've been saying for a very long time. The day we signed Timo Werner, that was the alarm bells going off. That was the red flag. I flipped. The receipts, the videos are there. Go on, we are Tottenham TV. Look at the hate, the fucking abuse against my family that I got on that channel in the comments because I said, signing Timo Werner, I'm done. This is a sign of what's to come. There is no ambition and no forward desire to win trophies by bringing in this bum of a player, right? And what did we do from there? We signed, basically, we're Teletubbies FC. Every kid for astronomical prices, right? For astronomical prices, Odebert, 30 million, Archie Gray, 40 million. What are we doing? What are we doing? Then from Ange telling the fan base, second season, I normally win things. I want to challenge from the league. The whole fan base forgot all of that. And they all said, Project Youth. And I sat here every week saying, I've spoken to the academy director. Through my work, I get to speak to people in the academy. Project Youth is not going to happen. They're going to go on loan. We're going to sell them. First game of the season, none of the kids in the squad. None of them. Right? Except for the ones we signed, the Archie Grays and the Bergvalls. But all this Project Youth, Hall, Lancashire, Moore, you name it. And then one change from the starting 11 from last season, and we've spent over 400 million euros in 1 year on Ange. This is the biggest disgrace I've ever seen at Spurs, the biggest mismanagement of transfer funds between Lange, Paratici, Levy and Ange. They've lied. The journalists, they all lied. Eze's coming to Tottenham. Neto wants Spurs. Conor Gallagher done deal. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. We've been lied to since January, and we sat here saying, do you not know Levy? Maz called it in January. Maz called this in January, right? What happened is no surprise to me. That's why I'm not angry.
No,
I wrote
Sal, I called it.
No, hear me out.
I called it.
Stefan, hear me out.
Yeah.
I gave it a chance, right? I said, I'm going to let this play out. I always said, this has to play out. I'm going to let it play out. And now it's playing out, and we're coming to the crux of it. This is going to be a disaster because we don't have the players good enough. The reason, Connor, we didn't score is because the quality we brought in is not quality. Johnson is shit. I said all last season.
Why he started, I do not know.
This guy for 50 million is a waste of money. He only turns up against crap teams because that's his level. He goes missing in the big games.
He's good.
Richarlison, Murray, they're deluded. Richarlison, same shit. Werner, same shit. Kulusevski, brilliant preseason. Play him as the number 9, false number. Bullshit. He came on, he did nothing. This is what we get. Solanke, it's always an excuse of Spurs. Oh, but Solanke needs time. Time for what? You've been playing Premier League football for how long? You scored 19 goals last season. Why do you need time now? This is the Premier League. This is one of the easiest games you're going to get all season. Why does Solanke need time? Those chances he took didn't even test the goalkeeper. He fucked it. Do you know why?
Backup.
Murray, he's not that good. I don't think Solanke's shit, but he's not good enough to lead the line at a club that had Berbatov, Sheringham, Klinsmann, Defoe, Keane, Berbatov, Son, Kane, Solanke and Richarlison. Is this where we're at? As for the defence, Van der Ven never got injuries at his not like this.
He did though.
Not the hamstring ones because he's having to do emergency sprints. Romero, he wasn't like this at Atlanta. He wasn't like this under Conte. He wasn't like this for Argentina. Udogie and Porro weren't this bad, what we're seeing at their club. This system is destroying our defence. And if there's one thing I've called Angel, and I've been quite consistent on it, this high line, he never drops it, or he drops it when it's too late. And we are so shocking at any kind of organisation, whether it's the goalie or the centre-backs or whoever, or the manager, the coach is organising us in the transition from attack to defence. We look inept, gaps everywhere, wide open like a brothel house, a whore's legs.
I got something for you,
and any ball in the box, on the ground, in the air, diagonal, set piece, corner. Like, whenever I see a ball come into the box, guys, I sit there and I say, there's a 60% chance this is going to go in the back of the net, you know. That's how I feel every time a ball comes in. That's on the coaches. These defenders are far better than what we're seeing. I'm not saying Romero is the GOAT, but he's a good defender. Udogie is a good player. But I guarantee you, if Pep had them, if Klopp had any decent manager had them, this wouldn't be happening. We said we need a number 6. We got rid of Skip. We got rid of Højbjerg, the 2 number 6. We haven't bought anyone. Now we're depending on a fucking clown that's taking laughing gas and getting suspended. Basuma, right? The whole thing is a mess and fans don't want to accept it. Tottenham right now are in a fucking mess. And mark my words, I think we'll beat Everton. I think we'll crush them because they're awful. They've got a lot of injuries. God help us await Newcastle. And when Arsenal come to us, it's going to be 3 in a row. You're going to beat us 3 times in a row. First time it's happened in our stadium. It's going to happen. I don't trust the manager to change the tactics. I don't trust the manager to demand the right quality of player to play his system. The players that we signed, I think, are very underwhelming. I don't think Spurs are nowhere near good enough. And we've spent £400 million. When the Europa Cup starts and when the Carabao Cup starts, we're playing 2-3 games a week. God help us, man. Listen, I so want to be wrong. I pray to God that I'm so way off with this, but I think I'm going to be bang on point. Son needs replacing. Son, we need to bring in a replacement for Son. He's been a brilliant player for Tottenham, one of the best I've seen. He needs replacing. I'm not going to turn on him because he's been a great servant, but he needs replacing. If Madison's injured, where's the backup? Like, the midfield is nowhere near good enough. As soon as Bentancur went off, we lost the midfield. Pape Sarr is overhyped. He runs, he works hard. He can't boss the midfield. He can't play the holding mid role. There's so much wrong with this team from a quality level, from a tactical level. Once again, Levy has done it again. He's brought in a yes man. This yes man thinks he's bigger and better than what he is at this level. The players, they're going to get it from the fans because the fans aren't going to have the patience for it. I don't know, man. It's not one problem. Connor, there's so much wrong. But guess what? We were warning about this. We actually warned about it. I don't think Spurs are finishing top 4 for shit. No way. There's far better teams with less games to play this season. And I'm not being harsh here. I'm being honest. I've always been real. I've always been honest. I think we're in trouble. And I'm not overreacting. This isn't knee-jerk. It's the way we play. Leicester are shit, Connor. They're shit.
And I know they are. They couldn't create anything. This is exactly what I say with Leicester. They couldn't create anything on the day. And I genuinely mean this. I'm not just trying to find little positives. Your pressing was very good, and they couldn't handle your press. Do you know what? Actually, no, I say that.
Against an awful football team. They're terrible, Connor.
Listen. Majority of that game was played in the middle of the park because it was Leicester were on the ball for 5 seconds. You intercepted. You're on it for a bit longer. It was like back and forth, and then maybe had the odd chance with Solanke or whoever it may have been, right? The problem with Tottenham is there's been no improvement from last season in terms of 1, transfers, and 2, the way you play, because everyone knows what you're going to do still. And the fact Ange hasn't changed it shows lack of integrity, in my opinion, lack of balls as well. It's like he has one system, like if you don't like it, go, that kind of thing. I said this. I was doing a watch song for it, and I said when it was 1-0 and you were on the edge, and even after the goal, you completely crumbled. I think Stefan said it. You completely just looked like you were the newly promotes. It was completely flipped over. Leicester had all of the
Exactly.
they had all of it.
And Con, this has been the symptom. I did a video on my old channel. on the mentality of Spurs, right? Because it's even the Poch days, Europa League, Champions League, like big games, right? Where we are the favorite, we choke or we panic, right? And people say, all right, get on Son. Yeah, I'm gonna get on Son. He is the captain, right? Why? If Betancourt didn't get injured, right, it stopped the momentum that Leicester had. I was like, they're gonna take the lead. Betancourt gets hurt, and
Mark, I honestly, I don't know what you guys think.
Son, right? Like there are those who will say, "Oh, but he did play. Look at his sofa score. He played good." Like you're the captain of the team, man. We are supposed to be winning this game. I mean,
the problem we've got is he'll still end up our top scorer this year. This is the problem we've got. This is the problem we've got because we haven't signed quality to really surpass him.
And you haven't even. But the thing that I want to quickly mention here is, right, because now you're doing this Project Youth thing, right? And I can see this happening now. You haven't got that replacement for Son, i.e., surely, unless Tottenham go out and buy a world-class winger, which probably isn't going to happen, right? The more likely
signed Yang and Odebert.
No, this is the thing I'm talking. Listen, hear me out. You haven't got.
I'm just letting you know what we've done.
Yeah, I know, but this is what I'm trying to say, right? So Son will probably leave. If he leaves, most likely he could leave in the next season, right? Next summer. I don't know when his contract runs out with Tottenham.
He's not leaving, Connor. He's not leaving until he can barely run. I think that's
the point I'm trying to make is Tottenham haven't brought in someone for when he goes to go straight in there and just get cracking on and be that replacement for him. You haven't done that. And
you haven't even replaced Harry Kane.
But this is what I mean, though. Tottenham aren't doing this, and especially you lost Harry Kane, which is one major downside to your team, and the fact you could lose possibly, or old age, whatever, to another of your actual world-class attackers. It's just going to go down to even more shit, let alone qualify for Europa League. So there's no plan, there's no structure from what I'm seeing at all. So it'll be a downfall, and I think it'll get worse. I think it'll get a lot worse. But I want to hear James.
I wanted to say something to Stefan.
James, let's get Ed and James' opinion about the start to Spurs season. Go ahead, Ed.
No, yeah, I just want to say
I'm a
something.
neutral. I'm a neutral.
I just want to say something to Stefan. I think you're being a little too hard on Romero there, man. Because I saw
Yeah, I'm fed up.
Saliba kick a ball straight to somebody for almost a goal, man. So it's the first week,
Yes. Okay.
you know. So
Saliba. Okay.
let's calm
Saliba.
down.
Okay.
Let's calm down
Did
with that a
that?
little bit.
Okay.
But
First
no,
of all,
Tottenham, I think they played this kamikaze, right? They might as well just call it kamikaze because that's what it is. Okay, that's your style of play, and it just showed. You know, Solanke, we know what Solanke is, right? I wouldn't put too much of a high expectation on Solanke. He had nice movement in the box. He was able to get free, but he's not an elite clinical striker. We all know this, right? So he's gonna miss chances here and there for you guys. To be honest, I had Tottenham finishing 7th, 8th with the business you guys have done. I mean, Madison, who's supposed to be the face of this team, can't even finish 90 minutes. I don't know the last time he's finished a game. And when you take him out, there's nobody else who can create.
But I don't know why Ange pulled him. That made no sense. That was on Ange, I think.
because still he was because if you noticed before we pass it on to James, who by the way been waiting very patiently.
He's our most creative player, and he pulls him.
Yeah,
but he's been waiting.
Still, I don't know if you noticed in the second half, Cooper changed tactics. He started man marking Madison, and Madison was completely out of the game.
But Ange didn't counter that. This is what I'm saying. Ange doesn't counter it. He stands there and he thinks, right, what I'll do is I'll just make some subs. No, you got it's a chess game. You got to maneuver.
He's out of his depth style. I told you this last year.
This is why I'm a bit more sympathetic to our defenders, because I don't think our manager does them any favors. I really don't, you know. And I don't dislike Ange, but I think tactically, defensively, he's clueless. He just doesn't get it.
Okay, James.
Anyway,
Come on, James.
Udogie was getting rinsed. I just want to say Udogie was getting rinsed by a Champions League. I mean, not Champions League, a Championship winger.
That fatwa tore him apart, man.
He fucked him over, man.
He's a good player, though. To be fair.
Again,
that Leicester guy is actually a good player. Wayne
guys,
told us.
I shat on Udogie because he was terrible in the second half, especially after the equalizer.
He had a bad game.
I'm gonna defend him. He's not fit. It was obvious. After 50 minutes, he was shattered. He was completely finished.
They all were, Stefan. They all were.
He's just come back from an operation, to be fair to him. He's been out for like 3 months.
He was shattered. He's barely played in preseason.
Stefan, they were all knackered, mate. You could fucking see it.
Yeah, but he looked really like he started making like easy passes. He started
play Van der Ven at left back. You've got Dragusin, play him centre back. This is where the manager's got to earn his money, right?
Dragusin can't play left centre back.
But the manager has to address that, though, Stefan. He did nothing.
This is what makes me laugh, bro.
No, guys, wait, Connor. Let's give James. He's been waiting so patient. James, go for it.
James. Yeah, I think I think the season's finished already for me, to be fair. But
that's what I said. I told Stefan.
No, to be honest, I don't disagree with what everyone's saying with like the Johnsons and stuff. But I'm not going to lie. I said Udogie and Sarr was shit last season, and everyone was like, you don't know what you're talking about. Mate, Udogie cannot defend. People were blaming Romero for that goal. I've seen 7-year-olds defend better than Udogie did. He stepped to his left foot, allowed him to cut in. And he didn't even make an attempt to block the cross. He stepped to the left, the guy cut in, and he allowed him to cross the ball. Basics is shut your man down. He didn't even do that. I'm not saying Romero wasn't at fault as well, but the first action is stop the cross from coming in, and he didn't even bother. He just stood still. He was like, "Yeah, get your cross in, feel free." So here's my first point. I don't think he gets enough criticism what he should. Going forward, he's good. Everything else is crap. And for me, I know Johnson got a lot of hate, but the worst player on that pitch again was Pape Sarr.
Oh, come on, James.
Please tell me what that guy is good at other than running.
Come on.
Other than running.
You guys shit on Sarr so much. I've noticed this.
Thank you.
No, he's just crap. If you actually look at the amount of times he gives the ball away or he gets the ball, turns into space, what Johnson did on that right wing where he had space, he runs to the halfway line and cut back. Sarr does that every 10 minutes. He gets the ball, turns, goes, no, I'll pass it back. And then if you watch, Romero will get the ball and overlap Sarr, and then Romero will be the one who makes the through ball. It won't be Sarr. So for me, I know Ange and Johnson are getting the two, they're getting killed here. But Son, Star and Udogie were woeful. They were woeful.
No, Son was Son was anonymous in the whole game, and I remember at 1-1, I think around the 80th, 85th minute, he had a really good chance where if he had a better first touch, he would have been through on goal. But he had a really poor first touch.
Yeah, that was horrific.
And the Leicester defender closed his angle. But where I disagree with you is, okay, yeah, Pape Sarr is raw. He loses the ball a lot. But you know what the difference is between Pape Sarr and Johnson and Maddison and Romero? Is that Pape Sarr, along with Højbjerg, are the only two players that I remember last season when things were getting tough. They still put in the work. They still looked interested, and they still tried. All these players that you just named, Romero, that you named, Johnson, and whenever the going gets tough, they start to hide. They're soft, especially Maddison. Yesterday, Maddison, the moment they started man-marking Maddison and started kicking the shit out of him, he faded. He was finished. And you know what?
But we have a midfield three. We have a midfield three. You can't expect Maddison to be man-marked by one or two and still expect to get space. That's when Papasar needs to step up and go, all right, you're being marked. Let me come and help you then. He doesn't. And what you said there about, last season, the energy and running up and down, he looked like he was doing a lot. He looks like he's always doing a lot, but he doesn't do anything.
Did you know
one goal, 1 assist last season? I think it was 1 goal, 1 assist last season. So what was he doing?
Are you forgetting that Arsenal game that Romero was our striker, our CDM, our 8, our center back, our left back?
Yeah, but that was again Mari. See what I mean by a fake tough guy? He didn't do that. No. I'm gonna wait, Mark.
I'm not just no.
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna tell you why that's bullshit. That thing that he did. Where was this initiative and this sort of impetus at 0-0 or at 1-0? When did he start doing it? When he had nothing to lose at 3-0. That's my point. That's why I think he's full of shit.
He the whole game from start to finish. He was our best player. He didn't start playing with. Trust me.
No, it wasn't. Kulu was your best player in that game.
No,
Kulu wasn't.
Not our best player.
What game are you guys talking about?
I'm talking about the second game when we lost to Arsenal at home. 3-2.
I thought Romero was our best player that day.
Romero was by far.
I don't know what you guys were watching.
Romero was the only one that tried to win the game back.
Yes, he tried to influence the game when there was nothing on the line, and he loves to play hero ball at 3-0.
Yeah, but at least he tried. The rest of them were on holiday.
The only reason you were 3-0 up is because 1, we play zonal marking from set pieces, and 2, we put fucking Ben Davies against Saka. We all said what was going to happen. Every Spurs fan said, if you do that, we're going to get cooked. And it exactly played out as we said. That was Ange's tactics that cost us that game.
That's true.
Yeah, the only other thing I would say is obviously Ange is getting a lot of stick here, and rightly so. I thought we was better at set pieces the weekend than we have been, and I actually also don't put the loss down to Ange either. I put the loss down to shit players up front. You can't have that many chances and be in their box that many times and not score. Because we could have been 4-0 up at halftime. If we were 4-0 up at halftime,
a question to you and to everyone else who are after.
Who signed these players? Who brought them in?
I personally, don't believe it's Ange because I've seen this for the last 20 years.
But he's accepting it.
I completely agree.
I agree with that. But that's a different. That is a different. Like you're accepting it and signing them is different, in my opinion.
Okay,
I reckon.
Do you agree then? If you accept it, you are facilitating the problem.
Yeah. I think this is Ange's first big job in the spotlight, and he's coming out trying to play hero, and he's getting found out very quickly. I don't necessarily blame him for those. Like, come on, you're telling me out of everybody available, he said, right, yeah, out of all this list, I want Gray, Bergvall, and Solanke. That's all I want.
He keeps going in front of the media saying, I
know.
He's shooting himself in the foot. Like
exactly.
I told you this. Last year. He's in the biggest job of his career. He knows he's not going to get a bigger job, just like Enzo Maresca at Chelsea, where it's gone from a fucking clown show to a circus now with the actual transfers.
That's quite funny there.
Yeah, Enzo, everybody's saying, look at Enzo, he's ruthless. No, he's not. They want to get rid of Sterling because he's on 350K, and they're telling him, "Do you really think Enzo Maresca doesn't think Sterling is a better player currently than Mudryk or than fucking what's his name, Nani Madueke?" Of course, he knows Sterling is, but the board told him we want to get rid of him because he's on crazy wages. It's the same with Ange, but with Ange, I think it's more so what James said, which is you can either get Timo Werner or nothing. So he's like, okay, give me Timo Werner then. That's what I think.
And the second time, I
played
believe.
an academy player instead. I would have brought an academy kid through. Personally.
Agreed, so do I. And the second time, I mean, I'm not sticking up for him at all because I think he has his part to play. But the second time, it wouldn't surprise me if they said to him, "Look, we're going to sign Timo Werner, but Eze's going to come in as well. So he's just going to be there after we sell a few players. You're going to have Werner." He's gone, "Yeah, okay." And then Eze, Neto, fucking no one.
No, it's just and the funniest thing is I would say the most amount of money that is paid for PR currently in the league are the three kind of not laughing stocks, but like the banter clubs at the moment, which are Man United, which are Chelsea and Spurs. Like I'm reading, Spurs are consistently feeding the PR that Bergvall and Archie Gray, we don't need a number 6 because in training all the coaches are like just shocked at how good they are. Okay, did you
Then
watch
fucking
some of the
start
games?
Yeah, so
No,
start
in
Then,
terms of
then start them. If they're that good, start them. That's what pisses me off more than anything.
Exactly. Bergvall actually Bergvall, I was really impressed because he was brave. He wanted the ball, unlike Madison, unlike all of
Agreed.
the other players.
They're kids, man. If we're resting our hopes on 2 kids, we are asking for trouble. We need experienced talent with quality to guide these kids and make them into the potential that they
Guys,
show.
let me guys give you some numbers I found.
Murray, can I just want to say one thing about this, right? Because he addressed me. He said Conte also accepted it. Mourinho accepted it. Right. I disagree. If there's one manager that came out and blew it up and said it as it was and said, "I'm done," it was Conte. Conte did not accept it. Conte, he actually laid it out to the whole world. And as for Mourinho got us to a cup final. He navigated the situation and then we shot him in the foot. Sorry, in the face even. So Mourinho, yeah, he accepted it, but he got us to a cup final. He dealt with it.
Mourinho said something in March when we lost to
But what I'm saying is, Murray, before he got fired, he got us to a final. So Mourinho navigated the situation. As for Conte, he did not accept it. He freaking went apeshit. Are you crazy? So
No,
I disagree with that. I disagree with that comment. I don't agree with it.
I think still you're right. I think every coach comes into the job because they've been sold the actual job. So when Levy tells Conte or Mourinho when they first come in, it's always the same thing with, I would say, most of the high-profile coaches that you've had, which is with Mourinho and Conte, it's they come in, everything is great, everything is, bubbly and stuff like that. Conte kind of, in the first 6 months, he kind of sees, okay, he told me he's going to do it a bit later. And then that trust that was developed when Levy managed to sell him the job, I don't know how he does it, Levy, but he did. That trust slowly erodes day by day and then transfer window by transfer window until every one of those coaches just said, fuck it. Conte said, I hate this. I'm done. This is not a winning club. And Mourinho just pretty much said, you know what? Screw you. I'm not going to play the second team in the League Cup final. I want to win the League Cup final for you to get 4th place in the league. And so every one of those coaches has like a breaking point with Levy. And I'm telling you guys, it will be a blessing in disguise. I know you don't want to hear it. If Arsenal win the league and the whole thing at Spurs goes to shit. Because literally, Pochettino is going to become the U.S. national team coach. He has no joker card, guys. He is fucked. The moment Ange gets sacked, I honestly don't know. I have a feeling he's going to go British. He's going to go Brexit. If he sacks Ange, he's going to go for Gary O'Neill from Wolves because he's, a man of the people and more relatable. But the fan base is starting to shift still. They really are. The Spurs. I'm reading more on Twitter, more criticism towards.
No, they're not. They're not. They do this. They're not. They do this. This is what's going on because I've been on Twitter all day, and I've called out everyone. I've literally, you name it, journalists, agents, channels. I've said to them, listen, you're all blaming Levy. You're all blaming Ninik. You're all saying they're the problem. Right. What are you going to do about it now? right? We can all sit here and say, oh, tactics are wrong. Oh, and this. Oh, Romero's not good. We can all do that. What are you going to do about it? You don't want to protest. You don't want to boycott. You don't want to stop buying merch. What are you going to do about it? And all I hear is, you need a spokesperson. You need to put together a plan. You need objectives. I said, I'm not a political party, man. What are you talking about? What are you going to do about it? But fans are uncomfortable doing this. Aren't you uncomfortable? 25 years of misery. Doesn't that make you uncomfortable? Excuses, excuses, excuses. We have got the weakest fan base in the Premier League. We are literally petrified. And I'm telling you this. We are petrified of what the other people might think of us if we dare step forward and do something. Will Ali Gold come on my channel? Will Ormstein come on my channel? Will Talk Sport take my phone call? Will I be invited on We Are Tottenham TV? Will I be allowed to do a collaboration with Expressions if I dare speak up? This is where we're at. I'm not calling anyone out here. This is the reality.
Got bashed over the summer. Expressions. Of all people, he got bashed for having an opinion.
Expressions got slammed for stepping forward. People in the Spurs fan base are so scared to do something because they're petrified what other people will think of them. I don't give a shit what anyone thinks of me because I'm not going to live a life of dishonesty. I can't live like that. I can't do it.
Before we go on to Arsenal, too.
So, Stefan, nothing's changing. I promise you. We'll turn on hand. Say, yeah, this is the right manager. He can work with Alderbert. He can work with Blanky. This is the perfect manager. That's what we're going to do. I guarantee it.
I actually agree with Stefan a little bit, to be honest, because I think that the bigger channels are they're not calling it out. They're not calling it out how it should be, but they have changed their opinion. They are now like, yeah, this isn't acceptable, or yeah, we need a blah blah blah. We need class. So they have they're not saying it like us, as in like this is bullshit. This needs to change. But they are like wording things now. So it's like we need better players in. We need. They're kind of on that crossover path.
It goes to my last 2 points, and then we have to talk about Arsenal. The one point that you just let off. And this is where it's really confusing, because I went on Twitter to talk to people, right? I said on someone's channel, I think it was Charlie's channel, I said, expect pain this season. Expect pain. Because everybody always brings up, well, look at Arsenal, which I will say this, don't interrupt me, Stefan, that it also helped, right? Especially when they finished 8th, right? Within that COVID season, right? There weren't fans in the stadium to boo and whatsoever. There weren't fans to boo. So Arteta had that saving grace to go through that process. So they always bring up the Arsenal model. Okay, they went 8th, and then 5th, and then whatever, second. I said, okay, if you told me that you, as a fan base, are willing,
but they won the FA Cup, man.
To play the kids, Gray, Bergvall, Moore, Donnelly, whatever. And I don't have a problem with it, right? 8th or 9th, 3rd, 1st. Okay. But here's the problem. This is the problem I have with our fan base. No, they said, oh, top 4 or 3rd. Some people said we're close to Liverpool. 3rd. With these kids, so this is where the confusion comes in, right? And then when you criticize the kids, if they're not going to finish 3rd or 4th, right? Oh,
they're just kids.
They're just kids. They're just kids. You're confusing as fuck. Is it? If it's full youth project, then expect pain. 9th, 10th, whatever we finish to finally get to where Arsenal is.
Does anyone here know what Spurs are doing? Does anyone here honestly know what Spurs are doing?
It's like you're just sort of taking it year by year.
Is it a youth project, or is it win now? If you got Ed saying, okay, we're going to challenge for titles.
I don't know who to believe. I don't know what to think.
I know what they're doing.
You buy your kiddies, right? You buy kids, right? Who are not ready.
Teletubbies FC, I told you.
So it's confusing to me. When I'm talking to people on Twitter, even the people on Twitter are confused. So what is it, right? Well, you can't criticize the kids, they're kids. But I thought they were ready to win now. So I'm like confused here. That's just this fan base is the most confusing. We don't know what we want. So it goes to then my last point. I'm gonna say that we'll go on to Arsenal. It's just that this club and that fear. I told Paul O'Keefe, I said, you're lucky that this is like the UK and England. That I gave Paul O'Keefe my New York Knicks as a perfect example. In America, right, the fans will criticize you in and outside the stadium, right? And the Knicks fan base, they wear paper bags over their head. And you see live TV, you're seeing the criticism. But what helps the fan base is the media in America. When they see bad ownership or a bad sporting director whatsoever, they will criticize them on radio, print, and TV. Whereas in England, correct me if I'm wrong, Tottenham and the clubs in England are protected. They're protected by the media. Talk Sport, Sky Sports, BT, they protect clubs, right? Even in Italy, I say, wow, the media could be rough, along with the ultras in Spain and Italy, but somehow in England, correct me if I'm wrong, what I see that the media will not help the fan base, and so that's why it's difficult. That's why everybody's so scared to go against club hierarchy, because the media in England do not criticize the ownership and boards of these clubs, right? At best, it's soft. It's not like in the States where they go full on. They go full on. So,
no, but Mari, what's his name? Yeah, what's his name? Ambrose said it. Darren Ambrose. He's a massive Spurs fan. He said like last year when he criticized Spurs, I think their way of dealing with Conte, he criticized the Spurs board and Levy. He had a few events that were going to be hosted at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. What a shock. After he had criticized him, those events were cancelled and he wasn't employed for those events.
That's what I was just about to say, yeah. It's all well and good blaming the media, but at the end of the day, you wouldn't go against your boss in your job and tell him he's wrong and he's an idiot and blah, because he'll just fire you. So we're in such a country where money talks now, and it's such a poverty is such, everything is going up. You can't afford to not have a job. So these guys will say whatever they need to do to say what they've got to say. It's if they start calling out people and losing their job, I mean, that's why every YouTube channel, the ones that suck off the club, go higher and higher and higher and higher and higher, and they do it pretty instantly, because it's just how it works.
No, because James, it's you get, and not only that, you get all the perks that you as a fan have always dreamed of. Like, Chris Callan, for example, gets behind the scenes access to meeting club legends. He wasn't he the first one that did an exclusive on the opening of the new stadium? He was the first one that came in with his camera and stuff. So if you're a fan and you're like, okay, I have to kind of be really soft on Levy and never criticize, I know it's disingenuous and dishonest, but I kind of get it. Like, he doesn't want to lose his channel. He's got over 80,000 followers. But as James said, who has Chris Callan been inviting over the last 2 weeks? The most anti-Levy person in Brian Daigle. So I'm telling you guys, although they're not as radical as Stell or as open as Tottenham away, there's an undercurrent there that is waiting to kind of bubble to the surface, in which if they continue to go from Pedro Neto and Eze to fucking Odebert, and they continue to sack managers, they continue to not win trophies, people are gonna get fed up of this. So I honestly think Spurs are close to it, and he doesn't have a joker card anymore, because what the top coaches have seen is how they treat Mourinho and how they treat Conte, that they won't get back. So Thomas Tuchel, Julian Nagelsmann, potential coaches that you're interested in that are considered top coaches today, they're not coming to Spurs. They're not.
Yeah, but even with that, Stefan, though, people are saying this is where Levy's so fucking smart, and he's so smart, because people are now saying Ange has been backed. There's been £400 million spent. He has been backed. Levy's done this thing where he's brought all these kids in, hoping that they're going to get better and sell on for a profit. And everybody is saying, no, Ange has now had 400 million. I don't believe Ange has had 400 million, because I don't believe Ange is picking any of these players. So
No,
even if he does, if Ange gets fired, they'll say, look, we gave him 400 million and he fouled.
no,
The next
yeah.
guy sits down, he goes,
But
look, we
James,
gave him
but
400.
He said
no,
it
wait.
this week. The players that come in, or my players come. He said it again.
I
And
disagree, guys. I
every time he
disagree
does that,
because
it doesn't help his case.
no, yeah, I agree that he flip flops too much, and he's now he's saying that in my second season I usually with Trump. You're asking to get absolutely shat on by everybody, but
Yeah.
that's different. But for me, is Mari points out the American model. Levy has tried to impose, and most clubs now have the American model of a sporting director with a coach, not a manager, in which the sporting director, kind of works in tandem with the coach, but he's the main one that recruits the players, kind of like the general manager in the NFL teams and NBA teams and NHL. The excuse there, James, when he says he's backed him, I have got the perfect reply to that. No, he hasn't. What he has done is spent money and changed sporting directors 3 times. All of the good players that were signed last year that everybody raved about, Udoji, Vicario, they were signed by the main scout, Gabbiadini, who was sacked 2 months after those players were signed. You bring in a new guy who's much more data laden than Johan Lange. You give him also money. So all of this, you can blame Levy for the mismanagement and the constant staff turnover that creates this lack of identity, and the fact that all of us are joking around here, especially you guys as Spurs fans, that you can't see any fucking plan, which is completely true. I agree with you guys. You go from spending 60 million for Brennan Johnson, okay, and you say he's young, even though you spend that much money on him. You go to spending for Basuma also 35, 40, and now you're spending on Archie Gray 40 million also. So nobody knows what the actual plan is and how everything is going to be, what the vision is. That for me is the most important. Where do Spurs see themselves with this type of recruitment and with this type of leadership and management in 3 to 4 years? Nobody can give me a definitive answer on that. And that for me is the biggest reason why Spurs
That
will
is-
always fail.
That's
Yeah,
telling.
man. I mean,
Yeah, Andrew, I'll give you the last word, and then we'll have to move on to Arsenal.
yeah. I think that speaks to the whole board, right? I think a fan base shouldn't be looking around for these answers. Like the board should, how the club moves, the fans should see them like, okay, I know where we're going. I see the vision, but the Levy doesn't come out and speak to the fans. He doesn't tell them his plans or where he wants to take this club. It's all behind the doors, and that's where you have the guesswork of who's making decisions and who's actually running the team. And before I came on here, I was just looking up some stats. I'm like, in the last 16 games for Spurs, they only won 4.
Yeah, it's horrendous.
Out of
It's
the
horrendous.
last 30 games, they only have 3 clean sheets. This is not a formula for a top 6 finish.
That's what Sava was saying the other day. I mean, he was showing all those stats, and on Twitter, these fans, right? Give them stats, and they still, it's like they're blind. They're blind to see the truth.
Can I add to that? If Tottenham get top 6, I think Ange's worked miracles, because we ain't the top
Oh,
six.
come on,
In
James.
squad.
Come on. He
I
spent
agree.
400 million, James. He spent 400
No,
million.
but you're talking about 2 different conversations. Do we have the 6th best squad in the league, regardless of money?
That's
Nowhere near.
No,
You're thinking about that.
don't
Nowhere
even think
near.
about it. No,
Yeah.
they don't.
West Ham have a better squad than us. Villa have a better squad than us.
do
United have a better squad than us. I'd
they?
even say
Do
Chelsea
United
may
have
have
a
a better
better
squad
squad
than
than
us.
you? Do United have a better squad than you?
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
I would. Delete,
Yes.
Rashford.
Delict, really? Delict,
Yes.
a guy,
Yes.
a reject from Juventus and from Bayern? Delict?
Yeah. Well, he's back with his old coach. I expect him to do.
But it's close though. Do you know what I mean? It's close.
It's
And I've
close.
named 4 or 5 teams there that are not in the top 4. So if we finish 6th, for me, he's worked miracles, because our front 3, that's not even top half.
That's true. I've never seen. I've
We
always as
didn't
an Arsenal
mention
fan.
Newcastle. Look,
I agree. I think Newcastle have a better squad. I would say it's debatable, but I can see why you say Man United have a better squad.
West Ham.
You can argue West Ham. I think is the most debate. Villa for me have a better squad also. Like
Yeah. So
there's
United, West Ham, Villa, Newcastle, Chelsea, Liverpool,
No, take
City,
Chelsea out, please.
Arsenal.
Chelsea are a clown show.
But that's but so are we. So that's 8 teams. All right, or even if we take them out, that's 7, 8 teams. So we should be finishing 8th, 9th with the squad that we've got.
Still, you were gonna say
Don't
something?
sleep on Brighton, James. Don't sleep on Brighton.
Yeah, that's my dark horse for top 4 this year, Brighton.
Still, you
Put in a bet.
Top 4?
That's a bit steep.
I've put in right now. I put in a bet 3 days ago on Sky Bet. I put in €40. If Brighton get top 4, I win almost €1,000. That was the odds.
You think you guys are going to finish 5th?
Listen, I've come to the conclusion that Stefan
fancies
young managers. No, Stefan, you fancy young managers now. I've come to that conclusion.
No, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, the guy that said we've only won 4 games in the last 16. Those 4 wins were all against the bottom 4 teams.
Yeah, they were shit. Man, they were shit teams.
So let's go on to Arsenal. The highlight of their first game was
How did Mosquera not get a red card in this game? I'm being
I mean, this guy was working literally working. I mean, seriously.
I think he got the ball.
I like that. I like that. So the question is, Arsenal start to the season. I predicted 2-0. They won 2-0, and then they signed Mourinho, which is a quality signing. I will say I starred this. Where is it? The difference. Calfari and Mourinho for 70 million. I am so fucking jealous.
That is terrible. That is really bad. Yeah.
For 70 million. I like Zuba Mendy a little bit more than Mourinho, but beggars can be choosers. Mourinho's good. And before I go on, sorry, Faz. Don't say initially that you didn't feel bad about Arteta. Big up, Faz. Thank you for the super chat. But back to the question. We'll start with Connor. Your start to the season.
It's a bit tricky because our game against Wolves. Listen, we got the 3 points at the end of the day, but our passing wasn't fantastic, and it was a bit underwhelming because we ended last season not winning anything, but we played really well, and obviously we've got a really, really tough game on Saturday, and the team looks good. I think there are aspects of the team that still need to be worked on, i.e. we need to get Zinchenko out of flipping left back, man, because I am so done with this guy playing.
Have you got a weekend? Sorry,
Aston Villa.
Home, away?
Away. Big game.
Oh, big game.
Yeah, so it's only the second game of the season. So, there's changes that need to be made. I understand why Calafiori isn't straight into the team. New league, new team. He's not like someone we just grabbed from another Premier League team, just somewhat whack him in. So that's a bit annoying. I think maybe we could play Yuri and Timber there. I just find that Zinchenko at left back is such a liability, and he really can't play there against Aston Villa, in my opinion. He just can't. Because look at this guy huffing and puffing, man. It's unreal.
It's like it's just this fucking fan base. I fucking hate my fan base.
Look at this guy losing his shit because I don't like Zinchenko. Look at this. Playing against Aston Villa. Playing against Aston Villa, I guarantee he'll be here in a week's time. And this guy will be like, we shouldn't have played him actually. I guarantee it. Guarantee.
Guarantee.
Guarantee it. Anyway, what I was saying until the 5-year-old came back in. I think our passing was a bit lackluster, and I think we were losing the ball a bit too easily against Wolves. Listen, Wolves are down there for me to not get relegated, but they're down about 16th, 17th for me this season. I don't think they're fantastic, and I think they lost a massive player in Pedro Neto, easily their best player when he wasn't injured. So yeah, I think it was a good start to the season, but it's worrying when you've got such a big game coming up. But I like to think we're gonna, fingers crossed, get the job done. I like to hope we've learnt from last season, because obviously they've done double over us. And we know Unai Emery probably loves beating us now and then. So the only thing I'll take out of it is we've got to work on our passing. I think going forward and attacking, we were our usual selves. Our set pieces were fantastic, of course. Even in pre-season, they were still very, very good. In the game against, I think it was Leverkusen. I can't remember if Leverkusen or Lyon. Was it one or the other? Our set piece is still on point. So it's just down to the fact that honestly, I'd honestly rather start Yuri and Timber. I really want to see him in the team. Or even if you want to play Calafiori, I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know whether Arteta wants to sort of get him in slowly. I don't know. Pause. So I don't even know what's going on with that. But yeah, for me, and I'm sorry, Stefan Zinchenko is a liability at left back. He has been since he joined the football club. And it's easy to say that we've now got 3 players that can play at left back. Actually, 4 if you count Kieran Tierney. We don't need this guy at left back. We don't need him. We can play him in midfield if we want to. Otherwise, it's the bench. Or unfortunately, because you gave him the new number, we can't sell him now. But yeah, he's a liability for me. And we can, if you want to play him against Aston Villa, you're asking to lose, man. And he's not the only problem, by the way. He's not the only one, but he's one of the biggest. And the left-hand side, by the way, was very weak. Was very weak against Wolves. Martinelli wasn't fantastic. He won a good couple of duels. I think he won the most duels out of the whole team. But going forward, he was shocking and he wasn't looking great. So that left side is a bit weak at the moment. That's why I think we're looking at a winger as well, but I'm a bit 50-50 about that. But our left side's weak, man. We need to bolster it up and we need a defensive player at left back. We can't have this inverted bollocks. I'm sorry, we can't. Not against Aston Villa when we know they can be a threat. That's my thoughts. I can't wait for Stefan to fucking ruin them.
For me, I mean, a backhanded compliment and an insult at the same time is I actually didn't think you played well at all. I thought that was one of the worst I've seen you play for a long, long time. But having said that, you never looked like you was going to lose. So if that makes sense, like I thought when I looked at you, I thought, oh, you don't look very good. But you were still miles better than Wolves. It was never like, oh, we're going to lose this game. It was quite comfortable. And unfortunately, that's what champions. I mean, the amount of times I saw City last season, and I thought these just ain't the same team. And then they just kind of win and they win and they win, and you're like, okay, that's why they won the Prem. And I kind of saw that a little bit with Arsenal the weekend.
No, I completely agree. It wasn't a scintillating performance. I thought the first half we were really good. Second half, I thought we definitely dropped off, and it was obvious that some of the players were not fit. But this is what I mean by our fan base. Just to give you an example how you guys shit on your fan base for being toxically positive, we have a fan base that borders on I would say just being negative for the sake of it. So for example, in the lead up to the game, I don't know if you guys watched AFTV, this one of the commentators called Yardman. Okay.
Yardman,
yeah. One of the commentators called Yardman was like,
Yardman's very good. But Yardman's
yeah.
not a fan with the people that don't like to hear criticism. So carry on that one.
Yes, we know you guys are always real.
He's a guy. He's one of the guys that doesn't like criticism.
Well, he's not, Connor, and I'll tell you why.
Facts, by the way, he was speaking facts.
He was speaking facts. Yes, he was.
Okay.
Do you realize he was being shut down so much? Did you notice that? Notice how when Robbie interviews people that are completely on the same page as him, he doesn't interrupt them. As soon as they say something that's against the club, against Arteta, no, but listen to this. I'm not even going to discuss the conversation about Emery and Arteta.
He went, me and you must think football in different lights. Me and you must think football in different lights. It's like, no shit.
Let me just finish as to why that specifically is the epitome of the Arsenal fan of today, of what I call this little Lee Gunner wannabe generation. So that same guy that said, I rate Emery higher, I would prefer him to be a coach. Go back to the videos when Emery was sacked. Go and see Yardman saying that he's out of his depth, that he wants him out of the club. Okay. Now suddenly, I rate Emery more than Arteta. This is why they're full of shit. They're reactionary. They have no sense of any sort of, how should I say, realism.
Bar what he said in the past, what he said was true.
Emery is what he said in the past.
Who's better, Arteta or Emery, Stefan?
It's Arteta. It's Emery.
Two things be true? Can it be true
better,
that
Stefan?
Emery didn't do the best job of Arsenal, but he's still a better?
In my opinion, Emery is the better coach. But Emery has 20 years on Arteta. Emery started coaching in 2004. How's that even a fair comparison?
How I would compare the two, and I'm not being. I mean, I don't like Lego head at all. But your 3 best players in your squad were all signed by Emery or brought through by Emery.
What? Who was?
Saliba?
See, this is the other myth.
Saliba?
Which
No.
who? When did Emery bring through Saka? Can please somebody explain? Because he played him
He
in a
did.
random Europa League game and
But he
played
gave
him
him
at
that
left
first
back.
opportunity.
Isn't that a
So he
debut
gave
though?
Saka-
Isn't that a debut for a player?
Yes.
No?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you
Saliba, Martinelli.
Saliba? Saliba
Yeah.
never played under Emery. Saliba went
Who
on
signed
loan.
him?
It wasn't Emery. It was our sporting director. It wasn't Emery.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Same as none of these signings are
Okay,
They're
no,
all
okay,
Daniel
okay,
Levy.
okay,
That's the
okay,
epitome
James.
of the
Okay,
Arsenal fan base,
okay,
gentlemen.
no,
The
okay,
excuses.
no. Let me no. These aren't. See, this is the narrative. Okay, then by your logic, guys, it wasn't Thomas Tuchel who won the Champions League for Chelsea. It was Frank Lampard, no? Because he all of Frank Lampard's signings and all of his players won the fucking Champions League. Not Thomas Tuchel, then, right?
No, because that's kind of
Oh, of course not. Of
no,
course not.
because people are saying like Arteta is been proven like the better manager, or they'd rather have Arteta. When your three best players were signed by the previous manager, who you're comparing him to. So if we were comparing Lampard and Tuchel, then you could go back and forward with that. But we're comparing.
Okay. Three best players. Who are our three best players? Saliba, Saka wasn't
So,
signed by
Saliba,
Emery.
Saka. I think it was Martinelli. So maybe not Martinelli, but
No.
definitely Saka and Saliba.
Okay. Well, I would say Odegaard is one of our best players. He was signed by Arteta when everybody wanted Buendia and James Maddison. He signed Odegaard. I would say Arteta moved him from the left back role that Emery barely played him at, and this lie that Arsenal fans continue to push that it was Emery that broke through Saka. It wasn't. Arteta started giving him regular game time and moved him to the wings and developed him into the player that he is now. So for me, this is all. Emery is a great coach. Emery is an amazing coach. Why does there need to be this sort of comparison now? Emery was like, this is what I mean by selective amnesia, James. Arsenal fans are full of shit like Yardman and Lee Gunner. I remember the Emery years, and so does Connor. I remember when Arsenal drew in the last minute against.
Emery wasn't back like Arteta either.
Yes, he
Emery
was.
wasn't.
Facts.
No, he wasn't.
Was Emery in the
Emery
job for
wasn't
5 years? Was Emery in the job for 5 years? No, he wasn't.
Guys, he was, yes, because we were fucking 14th, Connor.
Exactly.
And we were playing with three at the back.
Where were we in Arteta's first 2 seasons, but he didn't get sacked? Where was it? Wait, hold on. Where did Emery finish in his first season, but Arteta finished in his first 2?
Right.
First of all, yeah, Emery collapsed
Answer
in
the
the
question.
first season, lost 4-1 in the Europa League final.
I
would have sacked him. I would have
Europa
sacked
League
him.
final, he's
after
won
the
4
Europa
times,
League
by the
final.
way.
Sorry?
But also
The Europa League,
got
he's
us
won
to
4 times.
that final, and Arteta hasn't got us to one.
Not with Arsenal. Stop using his experiences at Sevilla.
Has
At
Arteta
Arsenal,
got you to
it
a
was
European
complete
final?
flop.
Nah, not the last time I checked.
Okay, Connor, I'm gonna ask you directly. Would you replace Unai Emery right now with for Arteta? Because these fans are full of shit now. Tell me.
Right now,
if Emery is
100%.
better, if Emery is
100%.
better, no. If Emery is better, and you say he's a much better coach, I
I
want
never
you
said
to
he's a
tell
much
me
better.
yes or no.
I do think he's a better coach, but I'd say, can I be so honest with you? Can I actually be so honest with you? Right now, I'd give Arteta the season. Do you know why? Because if he doesn't win anything this season, I'm just going to be saying it to everyone, I was right, and I'll get Emery next season. That's what
you would sign Emery, a guy who failed at every big club he's been.
What's wrong with signing Emery?
What's wrong? Did you
And
you
then
not
but then-
remember
but
how his
that's-
reign
Hold on a minute.
ended?
Hold on. So what is the reason we can't sign Emery back? What's the reason? Because of what happened
Because he
before.
was a shit show at Arsenal. People forget how crap we were.
But then people can't bring up what he was doing at Sevilla and PSG. What you say? So why? If we can
what
bring
was
up what
he doing
did
at
before-
PSG? He lost the fucking dressing room like he did at Arsenal.
But I don't understand why you. But you just said a minute ago, don't bring up what he done at Sevilla. Why do people bring up? So why can we bring up what he done at Arsenal before, but I can't re-sign it? That's the question.
So let's say Villa. Okay, would you say end of the season? What if Villa don't win anything this season?
I don't give a fuck what Villa. I give a fuck what Arsenal.
Wait. And Villa have a drop off and finish 7th or 8th. Would you?
That's if buts and maybes.
Yeah, but it's also how far along he is in his Villa career. You guys have built your squad now, and you're meant to be title contenders. You're meant to be winning the trophies. You're at that point. no one's putting Villa at winning the league or winning the cups yet.
No,
They're still
no,
quite
James.
early on in their process. So
No.
for you to sort of say that is like, for me, and I'm quite neutral. I don't dislike Arsenal. I couldn't really give a monkeys. But if I'm being honest, if Arteta does not win anything this year, the Carling Cup, if he wins nothing this year, he should be fired immediately.
No, keep
Yes.
him, please. Keep
But
him.
he can't. He can't because he's the best looking Spaniard we know, and he's
No,
no one's better than Arteta. No one's
he-
better than
he's-
Arteta.
he-
No one's
here's
better than Arteta.
here's the funniest thing. They defend the coach where we were 14th and conceding 30 shots against fucking Watford and played 3 at the back at home to Southampton.
And
you
can we just
completely
agree? And let's
lost.
okay. Let me ask you a question then.
We were a
Stefan.
complete shit show.
If Emery had this team right now, do you think
We
he'd be
wouldn't be
worse
as
than
good.
Arteta? Do you think he'd be worse than Arteta?
100%, yes.
Wow.
If
100%.
Emery,
You might as well
if
say you
Emery
don't
was,
like his style. You don't like his style of playing the high
yeah.
line.
If
Just say you don't like
Emery-
his
It's not
style.
that I don't like his style. I think Emery has always been suitable for the smaller underdog type clubs like a Villarreal, like a
And what's
Sevilla.
Arteta?
Arteta,
The World Cup
Arteta
club.
for me has shown that if you give him the money, you can progress. And all this talk about he needs to win things, okay, then by that logic, all of the more money that other clubs have spent more money than Arsenal, like Man United,
Let me get
like
this straight.
Chelsea.
You've seen in the span of 4 years a manager that's won an FA Cup that he can go ahead, if he's given time, go ahead and do something, compared to a manager who's won 3 European trophies on the trot.
Yes.
This is the shit I don't understand. Arteta is the perfect human being. No one can touch Arteta.
No, he's not the
No
perfect
one
human
can.
being. He's not the perfect human being. I understand how difficult a job Arteta, because it's easy to say he spent a lot of money, but Chelsea have spent a lot of money. Man United have spent. They're still fucking shit. Arteta every single season has the only other team that has challenged Man City over the last 10 years has been Liverpool. And Klopp, after 8-9 years, gave up. He was like, fuck this is too hard. And the next team is Arsenal, not Chelsea, not Man United, not Spurs, or any other teams who have spent just as much or more money than Arsenal. And you're coming here to me after watching Arsenal for fucking 15 years, where we were a banter club, signing shit players, being soft. Arteta has finally given us a team that is close to the teams that were the Invincibles or were title leading or title winning teams. And you're coming to me and saying that we should sack the manager that literally transitioned us from a banter club.
No one said he should be
Just read between the lines. Who said he should be sacked? We're talking about a comparison.
You said if he doesn't win anything, you did.
Yeah.
So did you? You just said that as well.
No, for me, it depends on the context. If
he wins nothing
second,
at the end of the
context,
at the end of the
I
day,
guarantee the context will be because we finished second. That will be the
if he wins nothing at the end of the season, should he be sacked? Yes or no?
No.
And this is
and
why.
I'm not being horrible here, but you criticize Spurs fans for having no ambition and no mentality when you're going to do 5 years with a lot of money spent and a lot of big. Well, when's this project end? So you're allowing him to spend this money, and again you'd finish winning nothing. The only thing he won,
James, it's the context. If we finish second and get to the semi-final or final of the Champions League,
I can't do this, man.
Yeah, no, but this is
still losing, though,
but this
Stefan.
is what I
Surely still
mean.
losing.
This is what I mean by Arsenal.
This is failure,
Connor, see, this is what I mean. See, this is what I mean by this entitlement. Connor, since he started watching Arsenal, has never watched Arsenal win the fucking league.
That's not my problem when I was born.
He expects Arsenal. When have you watched Arsenal win the league, Connor?
But it's not. Oh, sorry. Let me go tell my mum. Mum, could you see me a bit earlier? Like, what did you want to
do? From what notion do you think it's like Spurs fans talking to other clubs about winning trophies? You have to win this. It's the same notion with you. You expect Arteta has to win the league. Wenger didn't win the league in his latter years. We were a shit show. Emery,
so you're comparing Arteta to Wenger?
No, in terms of Wenger. Connor, do you remember from 2012 until 2019, 2020 how we were? Do you not remember?
Stefan, in fairness, Connor's actually holding him accountable. He's saying that he needs to win trophies. You're the one that's actually saying, no, if he wins nothing, I'll still accept it. So I know you're kind of saying...
Here's why, James. Because in that period where we didn't challenge for the league, where we weren't actually that good, we won plenty of FA Cups.
If Tottenham did If Tottenham did that when we got to the Champions League final, you would take the piss out of us and say we're bottle jobs and we're losers. But if you was to do it, it's like, oh no, but circumstances, we come second, we did okay, but we get to the Champions League final and bottle it, we're bottlers.
No.
There's no circumstances. Unfortunately,
James,
in football, you win or you lose. You're judged on your wins,
James,
not your loss.
at the end of the day, Arteta will be judged on trophies, and I truly do believe that the way we are being managed, our recruitment, everything, it will lead us to extra trophies. However, your argument with Connor is extremely black and white. It looks at the context of, oh, he needs to win trophies. Nobody has given credit to Arteta for developing this team right now. Every single player, pretty much, that we have signed, his value has either doubled or tripled. Our team is improving every single season. We are.
I'll let Daniel Levy know.
Okay, no. Okay, but
he loves the bargain.
But here's the final thing. If you think Josh Kroenke, a guy who in the last 5 years has won the Stanley Cup, the Super Bowl, and the NBA championship, if you think Arteta doesn't want to win trophies and Josh Kroenke isn't ambitious to win trophies, then okay.
God.
I mean, I think this conversation is kind of irrelevant because he's about to sign a contract. He's staying.
He's staying. Of course, he's staying.
He's about to sign probably a 3-4 year extension, and he's staying.
All right, Ed, I have you on the show, and you guys made, I think, a big signing.
Mario, before we carry on, I've got to shoot off because I'm doing a show on my channel in about 10 minutes, so I've got to shoot.
Yeah.
Big on,
mate. Everyone.
I'm gonna go because I'm also really shattered. James, Ed, thanks guys, and Connor too.
Can you give me 5 minutes?
Great conversation. Sorry guys, I would stay for longer, but I'm shattered and it's really late here. It's 1 a.m. So next time. But yeah, see you guys. Thank you. Good night.
Arsenal signed Mourinho, and so you guys earlier in the week signed Gundogan. As a City fan, are you still confident that City is going to win the league? Has Arsenal closed the gap? Has Arsenal they've been closing the gap, to be honest, but do you feel that now they are prime and ready to overtake you? Because that's what they need to do to win the league. Or do you think, well, because they have signed that striker, though a lot of them are content with, Kai Havertz playing the false, do you feel that, Arsenal's done enough, or they still need to do more for you guys to be fear that they may overtake you?
Sorry about my dog. No. Arsenal have definitely made improvements to their squad. We only beat them by 2 points last year. I mean, am I scared they're going to overtake us? No. I feel like they're missing an attacker, a clinical scorer for them. Somebody that can, in clutch moments, change the game for them. I don't think they have that, especially off the bench. They don't have that.
Okay.
And I just think that with our new additions, and our business isn't over either. Everybody's talking about Arsenal are looking for strikers and everything. We are looking for an attacker as well. We might bring in somebody else in that forward position to take that Alvarez position. So we'll see what we do, though. If we don't bring anybody else, if we run with what we have now, I'm still fairly confident. I know Arsenal is going to be a problem for us, but at the same time, when I look at the sheet and I see Havertz up front for them, I don't think my defenders are worried about Havertz, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah, because like I said, it's a good signing for them, and so it's almost like a chess match. Okay, which club's going to do which, and Liverpool.
Yeah, man, I was actually going to ask them if Mourinho was going to start for them, because I see their fan base is debating that if they want Partey to start or they want Mourinho to start. So I was going to ask them that, but
one thing I noticed with Arsenal fans, and I don't want to be horrible here because every club does it. But no one knew who Calafleury was 2 years ago, and now he's the best centre back that anyone's ever seen. And it's all well and good. I mean, and I'm not saying that's Arsenal fans, because Spurs fans are doing exactly the same thing with Archie Gray. So for me personally, I have to see it to believe it. And it's the same with this guy. He had one good season for Leverkusen, and now he's the next Rodri. So for me, like, calm down a little bit. But when it comes to like Arsenal, if have they bridged that gap with City? For me, that's not even a question. Of course they have. City have let players go, and Arsenal brought players in, so they've definitely bridged that gap. Have they bridged it enough? I think so, unless City go out and sort of buy it. But I think that this FFP thing is looming over their heads, and they are a bit like, can we spend? Can't we spend?
Yeah. Now I was gonna say, if Liverpool had signed Zubimendi, that would have
No,
been.
yeah, I would have been. Yeah, that would have been worrying. For
That
sure.
would have been
Now,
huge.
first season, man. It's first season. They're still like, even when I watched the game and they were struggling. So
Yeah,
it's the first season. They're not gonna. He's not gonna come in and win the league first season, in my opinion.
no, but it would have been really interesting to see Liverpool.
Yeah, I would say it would have been a 3-horse race though, not a 2-horse.
No, I'll still say 2 personally.
They're missing that 6. They're missing that. Superman would have been really good for them.
Again, though, I think Van Dijk still gets loads of credit, but I don't think he's anywhere near as good as he was before.
Do you right now? I saw a debate. Right now, I'm not talking about career wise, because Van Dijk. I mean, he's amazing career, but you think right now? I guess the question is right now. Currently, I'm talking about form right now. Is Virgil still better? Is Virgil better than Saliba, or Saliba has overtaken?
I think Saliba's better than Virgil van Dijk. I don't think that's. I'm not saying that Saliba's not good, but I think Virgil van Dijk's never been the same since that Pickford thing. Never.
No, I think he's still. I mean, I understand Saliba is up and coming. He's had a great 1 or 2 years, right? But with Virgil's experience, you can't replace that. In big moments, he's come in clutch. He won them a cup last year. If we're going to be honest, he scored in the final for them to solidify that when they had the kids out, and we're talking about leadership a lot. Where's the leadership for Tottenham? Virgil gives you that leadership.
Yeah, but if we're basing player for player, the last 2 years Saliba's been better than Van Dijk. So you can't kind of go his leadership's better. Because for me, I would say Højbjerg's leadership is much better than Bentancur, but Bentancur is light years ahead of Højbjerg as a football player. So it's like, for me, I would say Saliba the last 2 years has been miles clear of Van Dijk. Therefore, you have to judge from what you've seen. You can't kind of go, yeah, but 4 to 5 years ago, he was the best defender in the league, if not the world. But now, for me, Saliba's clear.
Okay, well, let me ask you that. Let me ask you this, right?
I was going to say that doesn't leadership help in regards of crossing that final line? Because
yes, I was just about to ask that. In one game, who would you want? Saliba or Virgil?
Because
but the Prem's not one game; it's 38.
No, I understand, but they didn't as great as Saliba was. It's more than one player, but he hasn't had the experience to cross that finish line. Where and I think Saliba edges Virgil now, but that experience of winning, especially in big games like Saliba against Villa last season, right? That game where I thought it cost him the Premier League, he didn't show up. So that's what.
Yeah, but in fairness, though, Van Dijk did a lot of that last season as well. It's not like it's sort of one. Like, oh yeah, Saliba did that. Van Dijk was perfect every game, because every game's a big game when you're trying to win the league, and this is why. Like, I personally believe Andrew was so pissed off the weekend, because we're already, not that I think he believes we're going to win the league, but he already's like, we're 2 points behind. Like, already we've kicked the ball once and we're 2 points behind, and this is where every game is a big game. If you want to win the league and be the best player, Ballon d'Or, best centre back in the Prem, every game is a big player. So that's why, for me, Saliba's better now. Back then, of course, prime Van Dijk versus prime Saliba so far, it's not even a conversation. But now, I think Saliba's clear.
No, I agree with you. The only missing piece for Saliba is having that experience to cross that final line, and it's for him and Gabriel. They don't have that. I'm trying to think. Well, the only really the two players that are on their team that has that taste is Havertz, and if you count the Conference League, Rice.
Odegaard, would you say Odegaard? I mean, he did go misses in big games as well, but he's got the experience.
I think with Real Madrid, he had already. Did he win anything at Real Madrid? I don't think so.
Since you got Jesus, right? Jesus, you got him.
Yeah.
All the city guys they have, they
But
have a taste of winning.
But the person that they had number one, and I can't stand this player, Rudiger. I think it's the best center back in the world right now, currently.
Rudiger, yeah, he's class, man. I like him.
Public country, and Angus he's one of the best, but Saliba has to win something to be considered.
I disagree with that as well.
No, you don't have to win something to be the best per se.
For me, it's right. If you don't have anything in your cabinet, if you played a amount of years, it's real hard to say. Like when we think of the great defenders, you think of Maldini. But Champions League winner. Like they showed.
So what you're saying, I like to try and go back to Spurs in this one because it's the easiest way for me to sum it up. If Saka and Sancho score their penalty and we win the Euros, Harry Kane's the best striker in the world. But because those two players missed it, he's not.
Yeah. See,
because we would have won the Euros if them two scored. And because they didn't, we didn't. So does that mean that he's not classed as that good because of them? That's not fair.
No, I've heard that argument, but there's also the argument, and this is where I get on Harry Kane, where you have some players who stand out at those moments, right? Harry Kane in that final didn't really stand out, right? Or take the game by the scruff. I can give you numerous games where, and for me, I have a very strict level, right? Because everybody used the word world class, I created a new level, legends, right? And for me, I've seen like Maldini control the game in regards to AC Milan winning Serie A's and winning Champions League, right? You have to be able to stand out. My struggle, right? Harry Kane is a world-class striker, but he's not considered a legend because there weren't games where it's just like, and I'm not talking about the games where they were not favored to win against City. I'm talking about big games, right, where the pressures come to where he had a performance like, oh, man, you remember that performance that led to winning something? He had that performance. It's tough to go by. And I always used to test, right, because I travel outside, international a lot. And I talk to people in Latin America. They will tell you, Harry Kane's good. Is he great? I'm like, no, right? They'll tell you, oh, I'd rather have Benzema because Benzema in big games, you've seen him like score a hat trick for Real Madrid. Like it seems unfair, but in a sense, it is fair.
Really, I think as well. Not that it's fair or unfair. I think back in the day, what we would say is world class is probably now is like a squad player. Our world class players now compared to them is different level. I was lucky enough to grow up. I mean, I was lucky enough to grow up to see Ronaldinho or R9. People like that. Yeah. Like there's none of those available in today other than Messi. That's why Messi for me is so clear. He's the only one, and Ronaldo maybe 5-6 years ago, that would have survived back in that era. No one else would have survived. I mean, when you look at it, the rubbish players were like not rubbish because that's gonna sound stupid, but Iron Robin, they won a pat on the elite of the elite, and look how good they were. If they were in today's market, they're £150 million players minimum. And
Robin, if he played now, Robert
And they weren't, and they weren't even the top back then. So that's how, for me, football has dropped so much.
Batistuta played now. You like Lewandowski. Imagine Batistuta now. I mean, he was my hero growing up, Batistuta. And I seen him in games, literally like, give me the damn ball. Give me the ball. And I'll make magic happen. And so now you don't really see that much because there's a lot of systems.
Yeah, it's a lot of managers taking over.
Jack Grealish, I mean, Ed's here. I feel that, yes, Grealish has won trophies, but for his career, Jack Grealish at Aston Villa had more freedom to be the player that he is, whereas now Man City is kind of like what everybody's doing, a system. You have to play this role. You can't have.
Grealish is a hard topic, especially in our fan base, because you got the fans that love him for what he did in the trouble season. Then you have other fans that are saying he hasn't done enough, right? And this year is going to be a big year for Jack Grealish. One thing about us at City, if we have question marks about a player, we will move them on. And Grealish does need to showcase something more now because he has younger players who are coming up. I mean, we just saw Savinho. I mean, he looks like a good player. But Grealish have to prove something this year if he wants to stay a main focal point in this team or not be sold somewhere else. So it's going to be a big year for Jack. But yeah, it is going to a systems approach. I feel like that's the case because there is a talent drop off that coaches do have to do more in the game now to make sure players like Brennan Johnson can be active in games. So everybody complains about Pep and he made it boring and brought all this to us, but it's still up to other coaches to develop their own systems to bring out the best in their players. And right now, we can also say there's a coaching drought right now. If we're going to be honest, like how many world-class managers are out there right now?
That's true.
But I don't disagree with it. I don't disagree at all. I do agree. But you have to have the players for the ability, because like people say about Pep, but Mahrez was still fantastic. Mahrez still played the way he wanted to play. He was never coached. Foden, for me, doesn't really look coached. He looks like he's a free flowing, let me play how I want to play, ball at my feet. So I get it, but I also think that if you're capable enough, then you're good enough, and that's where I don't get me wrong. I do blame Ange for the position we're in, but if you swap Spurs' team with Man City's team that weekend, I think we beat them 7-0. But it does come down to player quality, and I don't think enough of us give enough stick to the players. The first thing we do as fans is, it's got to be the coach's fault, and it's not.
Well, let's go to the predictions. We're going to end off the show with that. We'll do, it's a must win for Tottenham.
Must win game week 2, must win.
We got Newcastle and Arsenal around the corner. It's 3 points is hard to come by. We're going to predict the score for Spurs, Everton, Aston Villa versus Arsenal. That's the big game. And since you're on the show, City versus Ipswich.
We don't. Yeah.
Okay, I'll start with that. City should win that. Honestly, I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I got that 4-0. I got that 4-0.
I have 4-0. James, you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go 4-0 Ipswich as well.
Yeah. Spurs versus Everton. Okay. I know I said 3-1 last week. This is a must-win. I still think we struggled to get a clean sheet. If we allowed Vardy to score, Magic Calvert-Lewin, I think we win this 3-1. 3-1. And just to make everybody happy, because I actually think he's going to have a good year. It's going to be some bumps in the road. I actually said Bergvall scores his first goal for Spurs in the game. We win 3-1. Your score, Ed? Spurs Everton?
Oh man, this is a tough one because I know Everton's going to play in that low block. Sometimes you guys struggle to break down low blocks.
That is true. Yeah.
I'm going to say I'm. Oh man, I'm gonna say Spurs will win this because I don't think Everton right now have the quality, and they just lost their DM right to Villa.
Red card.
So I'm gonna say 2-1 Spurs.
Okay.
So
James?
I'm gonna sound like I'm being super positive, but it's not like that. So I'm actually gonna say 3-0, but I'm gonna say it's gonna be like 1-0 to like the last 3 minutes, and then we're gonna nick a couple. It's not gonna be like a 3-0 pumping. It's gonna be really close. Like last 10 minutes, we're gonna score sort of like 2 goals to win 3-0. But I think it's gonna sort of hide a lot of the problems, and we'll be like, oh, we're okay, we're back on fire. See, nothing to worry about. But actually, I think that it's going to be like a 1-0 game until like the last like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think we'll win 3-1, and everybody's like, everything's all good. And then Newcastle comes along.
The
And
one thing that does worry me is Pickford always has a fantastic game against us. Pickford's class. Whenever he comes against us, he's just
yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think Solanke will get on the score sheet.
Yeah.
I think he. I know people again. They criticised him, but what? It's the first game back. We've said here every team looked like they were lacking something. The one thing he didn't look like he lacked was movement in the box, and I think that if he keeps with the movement, the finishing will come. Let's face it, he's been doing finishing drills for 20 years, so like I think that will come. I think that he's a good signing, not great, but I think he's a good signing, and he'll get us the goals that we need.
So yeah, Solanke, I got Solanke's son and Bergvall.
Nah, fuck's on.
And then the last one, Arsenal people left. Arsenal at Aston Villa. They've never beaten Emery, Emery. It's at Aston Villa. Villa at home plays very, very good. I see it as being a Desmond Tutu. I think Arsenal drops points here. I see it as 2-2 game. I think Villa, they play against Arsenal very well. There's no fear factor there. They're at home. I think Watkins has a good game. I think I see it as a draw, 2-2. Ed?
Yeah, man, this is the game of the week. I feel like. I think it being the first home game of the season is a big factor here. The crowd's going to be up for it. The players are going to be up for it. Especially with a lot of people saying they have a lot of doubters right now too. So I think they might want to make a mark and let people know that they're serious this year. You know what? I got 2-1. I got 2-1 Villa.
Okay. James?
I think it's pains me to say it, but I think Arsenal are going to win 2-1. And the reason that pains me to say it, because I think if they beat Villa 2-1, I can't see them losing for a long time. The next game they'll probably lose will be someone like City, to be honest. So I'm praying more for that not to happen, because I think it will just light an energy inside them to say, we lost these last season. This is the game we could have won. It would have pushed us. And I think if they beat them, I think it will really light a fire under their belly, and I think they'll go on a good run.
Okay.
But I know we're about to go. But let me guys ask you this. But when has, and maybe this was just against us, but does Arsenal get on the attacking foot when they go away to a top six side? Though I feel like they are more standoffish when they go away at a top six side. I don't think they take the game to teams away.
Yeah, I think with them,
Depends who they play. They attacked us.
it really depends.
We're not.
I mean, who
City,
Yeah.
doesn't attack you guys? You know,
they do that. All right, you gotta play defensive, almost like wanting to play counter, right? Where they play teams, most games they're looking to dominate possession and score because literally Arsenal is maybe the second best, third best team in regards to their attack, and so I would say.
If they don't go there and attack, they lose for me. They have to go there and attack. If they don't go there and attack, they lose.
Yeah, I think they're going to go on the attack because against Villa, Villa scored on the counter. They scored on the counter, and so I think they're gonna take it to Villa. That's how Villa I think is gonna score on the counter, in which they're happy to find doing that because the game that they lost, Arsenal had more possession, and it's just that Villa was very clinical on the counter attack. So I think it's gonna be a draw. I think it's gonna be the game of the weekend and stuff. So yeah. And yeah, Michael's right. That game, they had, like I said, they had more possession than Villa, but Villa was very clinical on the counter.
Yeah, but
Bailey.
I kind of hate this possession stat because you can have all the possession to pass left, pass right.
Tottenham would be the treble winners if we done it on possession.
Possession with meaning, possession with purpose, right?
Exactly. That's with purpose.
So we'll see. It's going to be a good game. I know everybody's going to be watching it. Hopefully we can come back next week. I'll be even if I'm not on the show, I'll definitely be watching to see what you guys have to say, especially Stefan if they lose. So yes.
Yeah. Well, I'll try to post his prediction. But yeah. So that is it. We will have shows post game reaction after the Tottenham Everton game. And then the Monday show returns on Monday because we've been on Tuesday the last couple of weeks. We will return and hopefully it's a victory for us and we are done. Come on, you Spurs.